Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 112, the Holiday Special. On this show we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross, from the Firearms Radio Network, your social broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Holiday Special. It's all holidays, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Saturnalia, New Year's, you name it. We're kind of celebrating it by talking about some awesome gun and gear items that you could get for your significant other, your gun-loving loved one. So this week I have with me TJ and Steven. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Ryan. Doing pretty good.
What's going on, Ryan?
It's all good. Just, we're down some guys this week, but it should be a pretty quick episode. Talk about some cool products that maybe you haven't thought of. I'm trying to do this out in advance, so I mean you've got less than 12 days left till Christmas, but hopefully this might inspire some people to run out and grab some things, to finish up their Christmas shopping or whatever holiday shopping you prefer. We're not trying to
plenty of time for some Amazon Prime shipping.
Yeah, Amazon Prime, man. Get it going. And like always, this podcast is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. Check out the new patches that we've just added to the website on patriotpatch.co. I've got a 1911 vintage firepower patch that I've added off of our popular shirt design. Also got the Dangerous to Go Alone Take This in both the M4 and AK-47 versions. The M4 is a pre-order. The AK-47 version, those are in stock, so that you can go ahead and make your order for the AK version, and they'd send it to your door, or Jake will send it to your door. We've also got a new one that we just added, Say When. It is kind of the sequel to our first ever patch, the I'm Your Huckleberry patch, the famous line from the movie Tombstone, or the second famous line, Say When Doc Holliday is basically, calling out the bad guy. So this is kind of a neat patch. It shows a cowboy with a leather holster and his 6-shooter kind of ready to draw. It's kind of interesting. So check that out. Only $12.87.
Yeah, that's Say When. That Say When is really awesome. I saw it today, and it was like, man, it looks cool. Whoever designed that's got a good eye for design.
Yeah, yes he does. Thank you.
They should pay him more.
Oh, they're doing pretty good as they are. You can't complain. So that's enough talking in a what person is that? Second person. So let's move on. The Christmas giveaway on Facebook, we're still having that. You've still got time to get some free patches from me. And if I get enough of these new ones, I'll be sending you some new patches too if you go ahead and enter this. All you got to do is leave us an iTunes review. It's really easy. Post the screenshot on Facebook on our Firearms Insider Facebook page. Mention your favorite episode of the Gun and Gear Review podcast and why, and you're entered to win a swag pack. So that ends on Christmas. I've only seen one person do it so far. So that person's going to get a lot of patches if they're the only person to enter. So make sure if you could participate in that, and I'll make it worth your while. Next up, guests are always welcome. So just like Steven here, if you're listening to the show enough and you're thinking that you got to come on here and kind of show us how it's done and make sure that we know what we're talking about, come join the show. It's fun. So you can email me cross@firearmsradio.tv to find out how you can do that. Also, if you're going to be shopping for a Kydex holster inside the waistband or outside the waistband, we got a promo code for you from Bravo Concealment. It's RTT Combo 10 to get 10% off your next order. So make sure you check that out. Now, on to... Actually, let me just ask you guys. You guys do anything gun this week? Any shooting or carrying?
How about you, Steve?
Well, I carry every single day, so there is that. I even home carry.
Yeah.
I did dropped off a lower receiver for my AR to have that Cerakoted, so I'm anxiously awaiting that to happen.
Cool. How you getting it done?
How?
Like
Like,
what? Color, pattern, whatever?
I'm just going for a pretty boring OD green, kind of looking for that old school Wilson Combat look.
Okay, cool.
So that always struck my fancy when I was in my teens and seeing all the gun rags had all the Wilson Combat rifles with the OD green receivers.
Nice. Well, I didn't, kind of the same, didn't do a whole ton much, but I did talk to a friend. He messaged me the other day saying that he would like to learn some firearms. He wants to get a pistol and start learning how to shoot and stuff like that. So I'm going to get with him probably right after the holidays and hopefully get him set up with something, show him the basics,
Cool.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. My neighbor contacted me Monday this week and said it was finally time to get something for home defense. So we had a nice long discussion about that and made a few recommendations for him on what might be prudent in the semi-auto 9mm category.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good discussion. I enjoyed having that with him.
Cool.
And my wife has finally decided it's time for a concealed carry permit.
Nice.
Yeah, I just can't train her to shoot.
Yeah, it's usually not a good idea.
No.
Sweet. Yeah, I haven't really done anything. Just been busy working, trying to steal some time to go shoot. I'm hoping tomorrow I'm going to actually shoot some steel and get some footage of that THIS, Target Hit Indicator Systems, that flash bulb that you mount to your target, and it basically, I don't have like a 1,000-yard range where I could hit the steel and actually see it from a long range, but I'm going to test this pretty close up with some 22s at subsonics and supersonics, pistol and rifle, and some 300 blackout, maybe some subsonic 308, even though I know for a fact that that's got enough kinetic energy to set off the sensor, but
yep.
Hoping to do that tomorrow because the rain's finally let up a little bit.
It's Washington. Does it ever fully let up?
Yeah, it does. Sometimes we get a week or so of just gray skies and no precipitation, and that's the time to go shooting in the winter. So that said, let's talk about some items that honestly any one of these would make me a pretty happy boy on Christmas morning, but these would be good for anyone in your life that isn't just into just guns, but maybe some everyday carry, some camping, some shooting, and then just kind of anybody. These are just cool items that what we usually end up talking about in one way or the other. The first one's a tool that I actually use quite a bit, and it's called the Wheeler Fat Wrench, and FAT stands for Firearm Actorizing Torque. But it is quite large, and so it's kind of a funny name because it is a fat wrench. Basically, this is something from Wheeler that lets you, it's like a screwdriver, and you can adjust the torque from 10 pounds all the way up to 65 inch-pounds in 5 inch-pound increments. And it uses standard quarter-inch hex drive tips. Comes with several tips as well. I use this quite a bit for mounting scopes, mounting bases to receivers, anything, especially with scopes where the manufacturer of the rings or the bases has a suggested setting, yeah. So like I use a lot of Warren products, and I think they're 25 foot-pounds. So that's what I usually end up doing. But anything in your life that needs to be screwed, you could use this and have a lot of good control over that. I hate stripping screws because I was too lazy to grab the good screwdriver, so I grabbed the one that was kind of worn down, a worn down bit on the end of it.
Yeah, I used to be real bad for that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because a lot of manufacturers for especially optics and rings, they'll specify that torque value and they don't want you to go over it because I mean I guess technically if you're mounting a scope and you go too far over the recommended, you could crush the tube or something along those lines, or even just having it inconsistent. If you have one down to 10 pounds and one to 20 pounds, the scope might not be as accurate, I suppose. So having everything consistent and matching is good. Plus, a lot of accessory makers, I know the hand guards and stuff that screw on, that have, they slide onto the barrel nut and then you have to screw it into the barrel nut. They usually have torque values. Pretty much a lot of stuff does, and if they don't, they probably do. Maybe just don't necessarily say it in the instructions if it's not too big of a deal.
Yep. So it looks like it comes with a number 10, and number 11, and number 32 flat blade bit. And then it comes with a 3 32nds, 7 64ths, and 5 32nds Allen bits, and then a T15 and T20 Torx bit, as well as a square drive adapter bit and a loopholed Bueller windage bit. So that must be specially kind of designed for scopes that have almost like the coin slot for adjusting windage.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit wider because if you've ever used a screwdriver to adjust your windage and elevation turrets, and it was too small for the slot, and you probably marred up the edge of that slot because your screwdriver slipped. I've done it a million times. I hate doing it. So having this has definitely saved me, and it increased the kind of the overall condition of my guns. It's not like someone's going to look at the scope and go, "Oh yeah, you screwed up here. I'm gonna, knock off $20." But it's just nice to do it right the first time.
You say that, but one thing I always hear when it comes to buying used revolvers is they say to look at the side plate screws for like a Smith & Wesson revolver. You look at the side plate screws because if those things if they're all beat up, what did they try to do on the inside that they didn't do right? Because they didn't even take the screws off right. So what did they screw up on the inside when they got in there?
Yeah, that's actually exactly the application I was thinking of when I saw this thing. That would be perfect for getting the side plate screws and the yoke screw back into place without destroying it and torquing it down too far.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And also getting the action into a stock for a bolt-action rifle. Doing that by hand is okay, but really you want the ability to get the correct torque setting down so that that your recoil lug is doing what the manufacturers have designed it to do. You don't want to just be wrapping the buttstock on the floor and then tightening it down as hard as you can with just a big old Allen wrench, because you could end up damaging your stock, ruining your pillars, your bedding pillars, anything like that. So actually, good old TJ here, the Amazon whiz kid, he found it on Amazon for the lowest price. I thought I found a pretty good deal on Cabela's. They had it on sale right now, but he found it for even less. So the MSRP is $59.99, but he found it for $31.99 on Amazon, and we have the link to that in the show notes.
Yep, and you can get it by December 17th if you choose one-day shipping with Prime. So if you do want to get it for somebody for Christmas, you could absolutely still have time to do that. And plus, anything you ever buy on Amazon using our affiliate link, they always help us out too.
Yep. Nice thing is that unless your husband, your boyfriend, or whoever you're shopping for is an actual gunsmith, they probably won't have this. A good chance, high percentage, that they've been using regular tools to do the job, and so this would be an excellent asset for anyone's tools, whether or not they really work on guns at all, or whether just around the house.
Yeah, having more screwdrivers around it can't be a bad thing because you're always losing them.
Yep.
No,
and it can be hard to lose too.
Yep, it's bright yellow, thick. has a case too that holds the screwdriver and a few bits. It looks like it holds what 2, 4, 6, about 8 bits.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and add this to the old wish list right quick.
There you go.
I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got all the AR armors, tools, and all the fancy punches and stock wrenches and the Magpul bev block, and you never think about something simple like this, even though it's not all that simple. So I'll be darned if I'm not going to be getting one of these in a minute.
Yep. Is your dog chewing on a squeaky toy?
Yeah, I'm about to correct that.
Cool. So the next item we got is even more practical for anybody. It happens to be made by our friends over at KeyBar. I don't know if we've talked about KeyBar too much on this show. I know they've sponsored some giveaways in the past for some Patreon events for the Firearms Radio Network. But KeyBars are pretty awesome. It's basically if you're familiar with a Allen key set, where all your Allen keys are kind of in one kind of handy, convenient package, and you can swing each individual one out. Same principle, but this is for your keys, your car keys, your house keys, pretty much any of your keys. And also, there's like a combs that you can get on there, and even little mini USB flash drives that can be used to be added to a key bar. So it has a belt clip. You can clip it to the inside of your pocket, and basically just eliminates the bulk, having all those keys kind of jabbing into your leg and your pocket if you've got too many on your key ring. The jingle, it's kind of the death to the key jingle because they're nice and held in there with friction, and you're not going to have that telltale noise.
Yeah, these things are pretty neat. If I had more keys, I would definitely get one. But I only have like 2 keys on my keychain, and one of them being a car key, it wouldn't fit in this thing. But if that weren't the case, if I had to have 6 or 8 keys on me at a time, this would definitely be the ticket because it keeps it. I like my keychain to be relatively small, and I don't like bulk in my pocket. So this could definitely reduce a lot of bulk because it just stacks them, and basically like a little Swiss Army for keys. And I think they even have tools that you can put in it. I know Ryan mentioned the comb and the USB, but I think I've seen
blades and all kinds of other stuff that independent people are making for them.
Oh yeah, you can go
a big aftermarket.
Yeah, these things are. There's a ton of people imitating them too, but as far as I know, I think KeyBar was kind of the first big one to do this. Now they also offer, let's see, they have like titanium, stainless steel, different colors, anodizing, and carbon fiber. I think they have like a bronzish color, so you can get them pretty custom to suit your needs, And here's the, I'm sorry, here's the accessory page where you can get. Oh yeah, this is the one thing I liked about them too is they don't just give you like one size. If you need to hold 4 keys, but it comes thick enough to hold 8 keys, well then you still have them loose. You can get extension screws to make it as small or as wide as you want. I think you can make it as wide enough to hold like 20 keys or something crazy. And
Good God.
yeah, and they have let's see, in their accessory tab, they have pocket clips.
That's full on high school janitor status.
Yeah. They have a little carabiner, so you can hook it on your belt loop, toothpick and tweezer set, kind of like your little Swiss Army style, the comb, bottle opener. I guess that's it. I thought they had more accessories. And then USB.
Comb, the flash drive, there's a 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, and 30 gigabyte models. The 8 is going to be $9, the 16 is going to be $14, and the 30 gigabyte is going to be $23. That's a lot of data that you can have in such a small little USB key.
Yep. Yeah, especially knowing, you just throw a USB drive in your pocket or on your keys. Those things are kind of fragile, but having it on here would probably shield it a good bit from other things in your pocket, being sandwiched between two pieces of aluminum or titanium, and then held steady. It's not going to get beat up in your pocket as much either, so that's really cool too.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty stripped down piece too. So not a lot of fluff involved on that USB stick.
Yeah, just what you need.
Yep. So they do say at the top of the website right now, for all Christmas orders, the U.S. Orders must be placed by 3 p.m. on December 16th, which is going to be today. We're recording on the 15th, so that'll be tomorrow. But so you might want to jump on that if I just kind of jarred your interest. These are really nice. They've got some custom ones too.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're
I was just looking at those.
If you're into like the whole tactical lifestyle, they've got cryptic ones. So they've got Highlander. It looks like Typhon. So those are pretty freaking tactical. I mean.
Yeah, they even have some other ones. They have one that they call it driftwood. It does look like a piece of wood. You know, it's kind of, I guess, sculpted. I think it's a titanium one, and it looks like it's sculpted to look like driftwood. And they have some flames and like a splatter pattern, some Spartan helmets, American flag.
Yep,
all
and
kind
they
of
can
stuff.
even do customized key bars. So you put just give them your name, email, phone number. You choose the material, whether it's anodized aluminum, regular aluminum, anodized titanium, regular titanium, or gray nitride coated titanium. Then you pick the background color. The customization color is going to be locked in as white. You can choose the pocket clip finish, so stonewash, blue, bronze, purple, light green, multicolor, dark gray, satin silver. And then you can even upload your own logo or kind of like clip art vector image. They don't want any real photos. You can't get a picture of your grandma put onto a key bar because this is going to be kind of laser engraved on there, I assume. So you could get your company logo engraved onto it, and then you can even have some custom text put on there. So if you own a business, maybe a janitorial business, and you want to get this for all your employees, you could have their names put on the front or the back. So that's pretty cool. I assume the costs are going to be very much reflective of what options you choose. It says between $66 and $125.
Jesus.
So I guess that really depends on. I guess titanium is going to be more expensive than the aluminum, so that might be upset the cost right there.
Yeah, because their standard titanium I think is $68, and that's just the way it comes with no custom additive to it.
Yeah. I think Jake should get us all Firearms Radio Network key bars. That'd be cool.
I would have to get like the bright Dayglow orange one, because if I got a Cryptek one or something like that, I would lose it in about 15 seconds. Drop it on the ground, kick it under the car, and it's gone forever.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, and it's not like you can hear it jingling as it goes.
Exactly. That would be a bad day.
If you do have a large vehicle key with a black fob attached to it, or a big black bulbous Surefire flashlight, if you listen to the last episode, you could get that like carabiner clip and kind of use a keychain key to add that onto this. So it'd be kind of a hybrid. It'd still have something dangling from it.
Right. It would just be one key and then the key bar.
Yep, exactly. So you can keep all your standard keys, door keys and stuff in that.
Still a lot simpler than it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So check that out if you're interested. The next one we have is...
Hold on, Ryan. Did you mention the base price of that?
I think I did. Maybe I didn't. So the non-custom ones, the ones that they have in stock, it's going to range between $45 and $90.
Yeah, depending on the aluminum and the titanium and different colorings and stuff like that.
Yep. Thanks for catching me on that.
You might have said it and I just blanked out anyway. So.
Yeah,
alrighty.
Okay. So this next one we have is going to be for the edged weapon lovers out there. So usually we end up talking about some kind of knife for Christmas. this year I've noticed that the Hogue is actually putting out some edged weapons, and they're actually look a pretty decent quality.
Nice looking stuff is coming out of Hogue.
Yeah. So this one caught my eye. It's a tomahawk, and usually we scoff at tomahawks, but I actually find this one to be like really tactical and practical at the same time. It's the Hogue XT01 tomahawk. It's got a G10 handle on it. Comes in different colors. TJ, you saw that there's a black, red lava, dark earth, and green color scheme.
Yeah, what they're calling it G-Mascus is what they're calling their pattern, and it's kind of like a Damascus pattern, but it's the G10. So it just kind of has that. It has that Damascus look, but it's that G10 almost plastic type material. So it kind of like a laminated stock. How you have the different layers, if that makes sense. So you kind of have like black on red, and then black on blue. No, sorry, they don't have a blue. They have FDE and green. I don't remember if the green was like an OD or a zombie green. Let me see. Pulling it up right now. Yeah, it looks more like an OD green. And that one actually looks really good because it kind of has a fade to it too. So it's like it almost has a full camo spectrum with the black to green to brown.
I'd like to see that in a blue. They have a blue that they use for their pistol and revolver grips. I'd like to see it on that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat.
So the unique part of these is not only does it have that kind of hollowed out cut in the blade to kind of lighten the overall weight, but they also have a holster with that same shape incorporated into it, so you'd actually insert the blade head sideways into this paddle holster, and then you kind of, I guess, rotate it, and that locks it in, or it just kind of fits in that obscure curvilinear shape, kind of like a cutout blob in the middle of it.
Yeah, it slips over it, and then I guess you turn it to lock it in. And like Ryan mentioned, the paddle's also compatible with Tech Lock too. So if you don't want a paddle, you want a belt. Who makes the Tech Lock? I think is that oh shoot, drawing a blank.
Blade Tech.
Blade Tech. Okay, I was gonna say Comp Tech, but yeah,
I love me Tech Locks.
Well, there you go. I think the design of that holster is really cool, and the way it holds it in, at least, you don't have a big bulky holster to hold it in. All it does is cover the front blade, and then it has that center post, I guess, you put through, and then you twist it, and it locks it into the shape. So that's really neat. It's also got, I noticed, some kind of like your, I guess, the rear surface where kind of like maybe a hammer might normally be or something. They have two holes in the back of it that accommodate a couple cap screws, and what you do there is you put either like a pick, like a scraper pick, or like a spike, or a hammerhead. So you can pick your I guess alternative tool. You have your primary blade on the front, and then you can have one of those three tools on the back to suit your needs.
That's badass.
Yeah, that was really neat.
Well, that's why it's so expensive. It's S7 tool steel.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know too much about steels, so that's a good one.
That's you familiar with the Sharps Reliable?
Yeah.
Same metal.
Okay.
They're using for that.
So it's got a 54 to 56 Rockwell hardness.
Yep.
Yeah, just pretty good. And also the whole thing is one, giant full tang, and then it's just got those G10 scales on the side. So you're not going to worry about the head breaking off the handle, it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks pretty small.
The coolest part of this was those interchangeable back secondary tools. If you wanted that pry bar or that spike or even the hammer, the ability to switch those out would be really innovative. I haven't seen that been done before, and it makes so much sense because a lot of times these tomahawks come out and it's either got one or the other on the back, and some people don't need, what do you call those spikes, like skull crackers, or for like going through helmets and breaching the skull in like hand-to-hand combat. Like, not everybody needs that, okay? But the hammer is
No,
useful for
not so
camping.
much.
Yeah, the pry bar is good for law enforcement. But the downside is this is an extremely high-priced item. This is $449.95 MSRP. So basically $450 for a machete. That's more than a lot of handguns that I know of.
Yeah,
it's
I
cool.
think I paid like 20 for mine.
Yeah. I mean,
Actually,
even
I've got it right here.
even at half that, I don't see that as being super competitive.
You guys at a Cold Steel?
Yeah, I got my little Cold Steel Trailhawk here. It usually lives in the trunk of my car, but I brought it in to sharpen it the other day.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty stout. Does the job.
It almost makes you think if you could create some secondary heads for the back of that, and then drill 2 holes and make some adapters for the back of that cheap tomahawk, huh?
Oh, that would be awesome.
There you go.
Now I think the steel on this one that we're looking at, the Hogue, that thing looks thick. The steel on it, the actual thickness of the handle and the not the actual blade, but the rest of the thing, that's got to be a thick hunk of steel. So I imagine that thing is going to be pretty sturdy.
Yeah, and I guess they are kind of limited edition because I see engraved on there 1 of 50.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe.
That's interesting.
So if they're going to sell 50 of these, they're going to make a nice little profit on that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Tony was here because I could just imagine him scoffing at the ridiculous price and how it's not really any better than a $20 traditional tomahawk. But I'm sure he'll bring it up on the next show. He's on here. He'll remind us. So is there anything else we want to say on that tomahawk there?
No, I think that's it.
Speaking of
Tony Bash and stuff.
Well, like, just one more thing we didn't mention today, but Hogue's actually making a lot of nice knives too. So maybe on the future episode we will do something with some Hogue knives because they're using that same G10 handle and they look pretty sweet too. They do carry that price tag that's being higher than what you're used to seeing from Kershaw, and these are definitely going to be more of custom knives from Hogue.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a limited production and U.S. produced knife.
Yeah.
It's worth the money for me.
So, yeah, that being said, everyone's been kind of waiting for me to talk about Magpul gloves on this podcast. TJ had a great idea. Is maybe on the next episode we should just talk for an hour and a half straight on these new gloves Magpul's been putting out. It was really tempting, but I think we're just going to talk about the breech gloves on this episode because, yes, they are going to be $70 gloves MSRP, probably street price. You'll find them for less than that, somewhere around $60. But they'd make a really good gift for any kind of Magpul fan or
fanboy,
fan man, fangirl, fan woman, anyone that doesn't really have any gloves yet, and they have several different versions of the gloves. We're actually going to talk about the breech ones today because these ones are specifically made to have the dexterity when manipulating weapons, tools, and specialty equipment, whereas the other ones are like they've got patrol, technical gloves, flight gloves, for all my listeners that are in the Air Force and flying something other than drones, and the Magpul Core Ranch gloves, which are just kind of, for bucking hay and come-alongs and barbed wire fences, I imagine. It'll go great with your Tejas gun belt, that's for sure.
I kind of want that gun belt.
Yeah.
There's some nice looking gloves. I like the knuckle covering on them. If you're doing something where that's necessary, when I was in the military, that probably would have come in handy. But I'm not doing a lot of door kicking anymore these days.
Well, even
a lot
though
of
those
times
knuckles, I'm sure you've all been there going to, tighten some kind of screw on an engine or something, and your wrench slips off and you end up punching your engine block, and that doesn't feel too good. So I think that the knuckle padding could come in handy there too.
That's just what I was going to mention.
Now, can you use your iPhone with these?
That should be like the number one question, I guess, shouldn't it?
I know. If you can't answer a phone call with it, then they're dead to me.
Yeah. Well, those are probably going to be the technical gloves, I imagine. Or what are those for gloves for hackers? What makes them technical? I'm sure we'll talk about it more. I guess we can kind of briefly touch on each one. They do come in different colors. The breech comes in black, charcoal, and coyote, and the knuckles and the palm panel stays black on each of those, so you get kind of a nice bitone effect. Comes in small, medium, large, extra large, and 2X for the big gorilla mitts out there. Let's see. So yeah, the breachers are kind of, I guess, meant for weapon handling. The technical gloves are meant for just abrasion protection and maximum dexterity. And let's see, synthetic construction for a second skin fit with terry-backed thumbs and screen touch capability.
Yes.
So there you go. I guess right. The technical ones are going to be your hacker gloves for your iPhone and your other touchscreen devices. Obviously, the ranch gloves are just going to be leather, high grade and thick, so that you can handle carrying loads that would cut into your skin a little bit. It's 100% goat skin leather. I hope these are like Afghan or Middle East goats that are rescued or something like that. It'd be funny.
They weren't exactly rescued, I guess.
Yeah, none if they're turned into gloves.
No. All jokes aside on the whole Magpul putting their name on these, they do all look like extremely high quality pieces.
Yeah.
So, regardless of whose name is on them, they're nice. I don't see anything about them that kind of makes me go, well, that's hokey or that's silly or whatever. They're nice looking gloves. I like them.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why Magpul has such a big fan base. Is they don't do gimmicky.
They're not Blackhawk from like 2003.
Yeah. They don't have anything in zombie green.
This is true.
Now, I think y'all mentioned that screen touch. I think that's available, or I think that is a feature on all of them except for the ranch gloves. Because if you look at the fingertips of the pointer and the birdie and the thumb, all of those have like a different texture to them. So I think all of those, except for the Rancher, have that screen touch ability.
Cool. And actually, again, all joking aside on that, that's pretty important to me. If I'm outside and at work, and I need to answer a phone call, or I use my phone for everything, for logging, responses to calls and calls for service and stuff like that. My cell phone is my mobile data terminal. So if I don't have to rip my gloves off every time I have to touch it, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they even offer a fire retardant FR set of these. So if you work in a area where you have to have fire retardant clothing, that's good too.
There you go. Yeah, I saw that the flight gloves, I was reading the description on those because I thought, well, that's got to be a limited market if these are kind of for aviation, but they're just kind of meant for comfort. They do have fire resistance and protection and that same touchscreen capability. So it's not specifically for people that actually are pilots for a living. But it's just kind of a different style, a little bit more, I guess, classic. Almost like the the 1960s aviators gloves, but with just that modern materials and that sophistication.
Yeah,
I would like to see a really short palm version of those, or short wrist version of those. I had a pair from Hatch years ago. They got bought by Safariland. And they were my most favorite gloves of all time. I wore flight gloves while I was in Iraq because we had to wear flame-resistant hand protection. We had to wear special eye protection all the time when we left the wire and stuff like that. So your regular Joe on the ground driving a truck would be wearing like Nomex or Kevlar flight gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, now they have it says constructed with flame and heat resistant Nomex, but I'm not sure if there's a Nomex layer between the palm, because the palm is leather. So I don't know if there's a layer between the leather, or maybe I don't know.
I can tell you how they're generally made, and it's just the bare leather on the palm, so your skin is touching leather.
Okay.
That generally does pretty good in flash fires.
Yeah, I guess leather's got a heat resistance to some extent to it in itself. It's kind of funny. The one of the pictures they show somebody using a cell phone, and I think they've got the Magpul website up with the Magpul case using their Magpul gloves.
Yeah.
When you make a little bit of everything. It's like when you make a little bit of everything, your product photos can have a little bit of everything in them.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, it's going to be. I want my Magpul tactical driving gloves because honestly, that flight glove, like you said, if it didn't have that full gauntlet wrist, if it was shorter, I mean, those would be some good winter driving gloves too.
Yeah, I would buy a pair right now.
Now I think maybe that long wrist is to kind of, you have a long sleeve shirt and you can pull that wrist over the cuff of your shirt. That way there's no exposed skin right there, giving you better fire protection.
Yeah.
I've got a pair. You can like roll the cuff up a little bit too.
Right.
I've got a pair sitting in one of my drawers right now that's just like that. You can never have too many gloves.
The patrol gloves look kind of similar, where they've got a leather palm and then a nice padded outside. It looks like it's got good slits on the knuckles too for the material separates at the knuckles. At least the outer layer does, so that when you curl your fingers in, there's not a lot of resistance there.
You can get decent articulation on your joints.
Yeah, I think they call those gussets. I'm not sure.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah. So, yep, we've been joking about it, and sure enough, I mentioned the gloves on the show, so laugh all you want.
Right.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
Yeah,
it would
cool.
be funny if they weren't so obviously high quality.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's not so much that we're making fun of the gloves. We're just making fun of Ryan's.
Yeah, let's make that clear. Yeah.
We don't not like Magpul. Ryan just likes it enough to where it's funny to make fun of him for it.
Yeah. And speaking of which, the next item that we're going to be talking about, I finally got the D60 drum from Magpul.
I've been waiting on this.
Yes. So, drum magazines for AR-15s, they've been expensive. They've been made out of metal, either titanium to cut down on weight as much as possible, or aluminum or steel. Very large. I'm not going to say.
And unreliable.
Yeah. Well, there's some of them are skeletonized. There's a lot. They're just kind of priced out of the everyday AR-15 owner's budget. Who's going to spend $300 to $400 on a drum magazine? When there's just other things to pay for. So there's definitely been a hole in the market for a reliable drum magazine made out of polymer. You get the lightweight. Obviously, PMags, there's nobody is complaining about the durability of PMags. I mean, they work amazingly. So taking that same polymer technology, they've made a drum, fits nicely in my hand. It's actually a lot smaller in profile than a lot of the all-metal drums out there. When you insert this into your mag well, it's actually no longer than the Magpul PMag 30. So you might think, why would I want a drum when it's going to hang down farther past my 30-round magazine? Well, this one does not, because they designed it so well, so the rounds curl up on the inside. It is user serviceable. I don't have a flathead screwdriver with me because I kind of grabbed this last minute. But you would just, on the back side, you've got 4 kind of clamps, and you just kind of slide the flathead screwdriver and give it a little twist to pop, and it comes apart. And then you can clean it, service it, put some lubrication in there. They do provide you in the box with some break-free CLP wipes to just kind of give a light lubrication whenever you take this apart. Maybe it's full of dirt, you want to kind of clean it and then give it a little lube to ensure that the inside stays rust protected and there's enough lubricity in there. Or lubricity, is that the right? How do you say lubricity?
Lubricity.
Lubrosity?
It's a lubricious environment.
Lubricious. There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
And nutritious.
Yeah. And nutritious. Yeah.
Some of them, maybe.
Yeah. The other nice thing about it is that it has a ratchet. And ratchets are really handy on drum magazines because it helps relieve tension of the bullets pushing up against the feed lips. When you're feeding 60 rounds into a magazine, it can be kind of hard on your fingers and get a little bit tiresome. You might get fatigued by the time you get halfway through. With the ratchet system, when you push the ratchet down, it actually forces the follower to come down to where almost you could load 3 bullets at a time and then ratchet down to the next 3. So you could get it down pat to where instead of loading 1 by 1 by 1 all the way to 60, you could do 3 at a time real quick. They're almost, think about it as fast as loading a 20-round magazine singly. You could load this one because of that ratcheting. It does have a plate here on the right side, and this plate actually is what keeps the rounds in there. But you can actually insert the rounds straight down into the feed lips because there's a spring, and this plate kind of actuates. You can see as if I push down on the edge, it kind of flaps open a little bit. You definitely don't want to torque, because I was watching a video, I think by Such, and he torqued it up all the way, and the pin popped out, or the spring popped out, and he had to fix it. So he was actually purposely trying to almost see what the limitations are for breaking the thing on accident.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, instead of having to push the round in the front a little bit and down to the rear, you can just go vertically straight down with them.
Yeah,
so that's
you can
kind of
use
new.
your speed loaders.
Yeah.
Stripper clips or the speed loaders with this. That's really awesome.
Yep,
That ratchet, it's almost like they built.
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, that ratchet, it's almost like they built one of those Uplula mag loaders into the magazine.
Yep.
Maybe even better, because you can do 3 at a time. You ratchet it once, toss 3 in, and pretty easily. That's awesome. I picked one of these up at NRA, went to the Magpul booth and looked at all their cool stuff, and it's like the pictures don't do it justice on how small this thing actually is, because it's a drum. It looks bulky. You're used to drums being bulky and all that, but it's honestly, it's kind of small in the hand, respectively. It's still a 60-round drum magazine, but it's relatively small.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to keep it the same length as a standard PMag is really impressive to me, because I think, was it the Surefire mag, the 60-round mag? That thing's massive.
Yeah. And then the 100 rounds.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, right, because if you're trying to get low to the ground, but you have a 2-foot magazine sticking out the bottom, you're going to have a hard time.
Yep. And like TJ touched on, it is compatible with stripper clips. So you can put the kind of the feeder slides into some grooves in the back of the magazine, and then you could push down on the stripper clip while you've got the ratchet kind of torqued down. So you might have to ratchet like maybe in between halfway through the stripper clip. So ratchet once and then push down about halfway, maybe get about 3 rounds in there, and then ratchet again, and maybe you have to do that 3 times in order to get the full 10-round stripper clip of ammunition in there. But it's certainly possible. So it's nice that they allow that too. It comes with a kind of cover to go over the top of it. It's kind of robust. It's got a loop on the back of it, so you could possibly lanyard that in to something so you don't lose it. Very nice quality. I'm going to do a review on it, obviously. But for any AR-15 owner, this would be the ultimate Christmas gift, because it's kind of a game changer, because it looks so. If you compare this to an all metal like X Products drum magazine, you would think, oh, what's this only hold 40 rounds? Like, it looks so much smaller than a 50 round drum, and it holds 60. Like 10 rounds more than most of these other all steel drums or all titanium drums.
Yeah, and the X Products is also $245, so it's literally twice the price.
Exactly.
Well, just about twice the price
so
as the Magpul.
I ordered this right off the Magpul website, and they sent it to my door pretty quickly. So it was $129.95. Every cent, I'd say, is worth it. One thing that I definitely wanted to try, of course this is work great in any AR-15, but bullpups and drum mags have a rough history, because obviously with the magazine well located kind of underneath your armpit, a large drum would obscure your forearm from actually reaching and grabbing the grip of that bullpup. So now that I have a Tavor, pop this in the Tavor, and it's small enough so my forearm does kind of rest on the kind of the curvature of the drum magazine. It's not impeding my arm from anything at all. So that's really nice. It did fit in there a little snugly, and when I kind of tap on the magazine release, it doesn't drop freely. I have to kind of wiggle it and drop it out. So I'm not sure if that's just because it's a Tavor and it might have slightly different tolerances in the magazine well versus an AR-15. I haven't had a chance to pop this into an AR-15 yet. I imagine it's going to work famously, because it's almost like exactly a regular PMag on the top half of it. So everyone knows that Magpul knows how to fit a magazine into an AR-15 mag well. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more specialized testing on the Tavor to see what I have to do to make it fit a little bit better. I didn't get it exclusively for the bullpup, so I'm not too worried about it. Another nice thing about, as far as innovations to a drum magazine, usually because of the design of them, you could not insert them on a closed bolt and have them lock into the magazine well. Well, these ones you can. So usually you'd have to lock the bolt to the rear, then insert the drum, and then release the bolt. On these, you can insert them on a closed bolt, and it's not going to bottom out on the bottom of your bolt. So that's a really good design consideration that Magpul made on these.
Yeah, that's a huge deal right there.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. They could fit 60 and still have enough room for a little bit of relief to close it on a bolt in that tiny package.
I'm really excited to try it in a regular AR-15. I mean, if it drops free when I hit the magazine release, I'm going to be sold at that point. And glad that I managed to have the one that I have. I might think about, depends on my Christmas haul. If everyone gets me any like Brownells or any other gift cards, I might be picking up a second one just because they're so awesome. Can't say enough good things about them. So if you've been on the fence and wondering if they're going to be worth your money, yes, they will be. So you owe it to yourself to at least own one because they're just freaking cool.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to be making me spend a lot of money tonight. Between some gloves and a new set of screwdrivers and that mag, although I just looked it up, if you're fortunate enough to have an FFL account with Brownells, you can get a pretty decent discount on that. At least once they have it in stock. I don't know if they have it in stock right now. I haven't looked.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you can take it apart and easily service it and clean it. I do know that I watched a YouTuber hold it upside down and kind of press on that plate to where it relieved tension from the cases, and they were just kind of spilling out of it. But when he did that, kind of ruined the order and the orientation of them. They got kind of jumbled up in the magazine. So he had to, at that point, kind of open it up and kind of get the loose ones out. There are some holes that you can insert to kind of keep the tension on the spring while you're disassembling. So you do realize that there are some parts that are under compression in here. So make sure you read the instructions. It's actually funny, I'll have to remember this for my review, but the U.S. Department Directorate of Defense Trade Controls prohibits me from like showing any depiction of the instructions for this thing.
Huh.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like,
I was wondering about that in the Such video you were talking about. I saw that earlier. I don't know if I watched it today or yesterday, and I thought that was a little interesting.
yeah, a prior authorization from that department is required to export, re-export, retransfer, or show this document to any foreign person, whether in the United States or abroad. So even if they're foreign and in the United States, I can't show them these instructions from Magpul on their magazine.
Wow.
I don't understand that, but he took it pretty seriously, so I think I will too. But
Something to do with that new ITAR stuff that went through.
yeah, that must be it.
Could be why I couldn't find a product manual
go
on
through?
Glock's website the other day.
Ugh.
Yep.
I guess everybody on YouTube's going to jail.
Yeah. So that's going to be that. We didn't have any reviews this week, but we do have a Tech Gadget app that TJ was nice enough to add to the show notes for me. So tell us about this thing, man.
All right. Yeah, what I brought to the show this week is a 4.7 QSL, Quark Smart QSL is what it's called. It's a flashlight. 4.7 is a flashlight company. I've had quite a few of their flashlights for a while. And recently they discontinued like their Quark line, their traditional Quark line, which was kind of the, my favorite light from them was their Quark Tactical. But they discontinued that and came out with like a just clicky kind of style, and I don't like those whenever you have to click through the modes to get to the one you want kind of thing. The old Quark, you twist the head to switch between, and I was kind of disappointed by that. But then they came out with this smart, and at first I was kind of thinking, okay, it's a smart flashlight. The reason we put it in the tech stuff is it's connected through Bluetooth, and I'm kind of looking at it, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, gimmicky. Like, why is it Bluetooth? What does that matter? And then kind of watching videos and talking to a friend of mine about it, it started making more and more sense. So actually, by the end of the conversation with him, I had ordered one for pre-order, and I just got it in yesterday, and it's pretty cool. So the basic specs are: it's a single CR123 flashlight. The max lumen is 350. The minimum, it's got a moonlight mode of 1 lumen. The max runtime on the moonlight mode is 360 hours, and the minimum runtime on the max output is 1.5 hours. It uses a Cree XML2 emitter, and the whole thing is super tiny. It's 0.86, I think. So it's probably about the size of like a rolled quarter, dimes, not quarter. About a roll of dimes, maybe a little bit thicker. And the cool thing with it, I think, is it has 2 different switches on it. There's the tail cap switch that is set up in a tactical mode, I guess, kind of where it's only momentary. It does not lock on. But then it's got a side switch that does the rest of your functions. It turns it on, constant on, and then it also, if you double tap it, you can switch between your modes, or from off, you can just hold that down. It'll go from moonlight up to max. And I think it's also got some strobe and SOS features, but those are relatively hidden. You can get to them easily if you want them, but you're not going to be cycling through and then suddenly strobe yourself. It's got a really good flood to it. It's not, it's not like a thrower so much. It's got a flood of your beam. Right now, they're only available in the 123A batteries, and I think that's just, kind of initial launch. And actually talked to the owner of 47s the other day, and he said they will have a 2-cell and a AA, I believe, coming out. So they'll have a two-cell 123 and then a 2-cell AA, I believe, with clips and stuff. Because this one doesn't have clips, which I always prefer clips on my flashlights. But the biggest thing with it is it's Bluetooth that I kind of mentioned earlier. They have an app. It's not out for the Android, but it is out for Apple devices. I believe it's out for Apple. But if not, they said it'll be within a month or two. But you don't need the app to use the light. But basically what the app does is it lets you configure the light in different settings, and they're still working on to get different types of configurations. But like I said, the tactical configuration is the way it comes out of the box. But you can go into the app and set it as a pro configuration to where the tail cap, rather than being a momentary, is a constant on. And what it also does is it tracks your run time, tells you how much time you have left on your battery, and then tells you a couple other stats, I guess, on it. And then it also has a kind of like, I forget what the little tiles, I think they're called, the little Bluetooth tracking devices. If you can hook it to your keys or something like that to be able to find your keys via Bluetooth. Well, it has one of those. It has that technology in it to where when you connect it to your phone, you can use it to track it. And actually, kind of one thing, it's got to be within proximity, of course. But one thing I saw somebody mention is putting it in like your checked luggage. If you're gonna fly, put it in your checked luggage, and then you'll get an alert on your phone whenever your luggage gets within a certain distance of you, so you know to start looking for your bag, kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. I'm hoping I'm explaining the Bluetooth functionality well enough, but if not, there's a video we'll put in the show notes of the owner of 47s walking through all the features of it, and it's a really cool light. I'm really impressed by it so far, having just gotten it yesterday. Of course, I haven't got to take it through its paces, and I cannot wait for the app to come out to actually mess with some of the customization features. But even just as it comes out of the box, it's a pretty good light.
Yep.
And the MSRP on that is $65. I think once they get out to Amazon and stuff, obviously like everything else, the street price will be a little cheaper.
I think I would need to see it in action.
Mm-hmm.
The premise is very cool, but I don't know how excited I am about the whole Bluetoothing it to my phone thing. Don't get me wrong. It's cool.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I need that in my life.
Yeah, see, I was kind of thinking the same thing. How I was like you. I was like, why would I Bluetooth my flashlight to my phone? It's a flashlight. But you don't need to, even. But it just gives you a little more customizability, because in the flashlight world, there are a ton of people that they're, I guess, crazy with different customizations and stuff, and they want this. Some people want this, some people want that. And what this does with the app is the quote he gave me: anything is possible through software. So if there's a particular configuration you want, there's a way to tell it to do that. So it's really interesting. It's going to open it up pretty good to people that want specific things where other people wouldn't. Whereas if you didn't like the settings on their old one, well, you just didn't get it. You got somebody else's kind of thing. So I'm thinking it's going to be pretty cool. I'm a little concerned about that side button, because I'm thinking in a pocket it might be a little too easy to hit, and maybe turn it on or go switching modes or something, and I pull it out expecting to be on max and it's on moonlight or something. So I guess I'll have to test that out and all that. But
you turn it on by the tail cap, right?
Yeah, the tail cap is momentary only, and then the side button is constant on, and then it also does your mode selection through the side button as well. So it can.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah.
I would be okay for the side button, like just changing modes. Like I've got a light that does that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the little side button right there where it changes modes, but the tail cap runs everything. So you can hit the side buttons all you want, But if you don't hit the tail cap, nothing's going to happen.
Right. Yes, I'm really looking forward to testing it out. But as a kind of initial I guess first impressions, I'm really impressed by it. So we'll see if I
think
still
it's
like it in a
definitely
few
a
months.
sign of it's a sign of things to come. I think
Oh yeah.
more technology creeping into different places. This isn't the first or this isn't the last Bluetooth compatible flashlight we're going to see.
Yeah, I would imagine hopefully they lock down a patent on it so they can hold that. But we'll see what else comes out of it. And one thing I really liked is I have their two cell AA body I had previously on their AA tactical light, and just swapping the body out, it worked everything just fine. So
Oh, that's cool.
if you happen to have one of those, or if you just don't want to wait for them to come out with a 2 AA or a 123 battery setup, you don't have to wait for it. You can go, and I think you can buy replacements on their website. I mean, obviously you're gonna have to buy the light, and then you're gonna have to buy the body separately. But they put the same threading, same length, and everything of the body, so it's like you can get it set up a couple different ways, and that's one thing I've always liked about 4.7s is they give you some options.
I would like to see if it's compatible with like the protected 18350 lithium-ion cells. They're actually a little bit bigger than the CR123s are.
Right.
For me, I used to go through CR123s like it was going out of style, and then I switched over to 18650 light, and I've got there's a AA light, but it'll also run on the 14500 lithium-ion battery, and I just charge everything that way.
Yeah, now I think there's the 18650s, and then there's, which is two. Is that the one that's two 123 lengths? Or is it just one?
No.
I get lost in all that. There's too many technical. But there's also what it is. The 18 in that is the size. It's an 18 millimeter.
Yeah, that's the diameter.
There's a 16. There's actually a 16 that's compatible with 123 lights. It's a little. I think it's closer to the 123 size. Maybe they're less popular or something. I don't know.
But those aren't. The only issue with those is they're not available in a protected cell. So there's no circuit on the battery that won't let you overcharge it or over discharge it. So if you run that battery dry, then you've basically killed it, and there's no salvaging it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I haven't. I've never had a rechargeable battery other than like my cell phone, so I'm not too sure about that. But somebody did ask, I'm trying to find it on their product page. It says, can it use lithium-ion rechargeable batteries? And they replied, yes. That was it. Simple answer for it. So I guess it'll take a little time before we see exactly what it can use, and maybe I'll buy one of the single cell, I guess, replacement rechargeables to test that out.
Nice.
But I do, because the voltage range on it is kind of crazy. Let me, if I can find it, because that was one thing I noticed. The voltage range was so low. It goes so low and so high that you can use 3 volts and 2 AAAs, or 2 AAAs, I'm sorry, or you can use 2 123s, or even, I believe it's 4.2 is the max voltage. The low voltage is 2 and the max is 4.2, and I think those rechargeables, I don't know if they would fall into that range, the 4.2.
Yeah, one rechargeable lithium-ion cell is 4.2 volts.
Okay, yeah, so they must have done that on purpose.
That's excellent.
The Bluetooth app said it has a proximity alarm. What do you think that is?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, where if you walk out of range of the light, it can alert you if you set it up. Kind of like I said, if you're going on a flight, you throw this in your bag and you have your phone on you, and then whenever your bag comes around and luggage claim, it'll go off and say, tell you that it's in range, letting you know that your bag is close to you. I don't know too much the practicality of it, other than like that, maybe warning you if you left your light on the table or something, and don't want to lose it or something like that, it would warn you before you got too far.
Or if you're like me and you roll your light underneath your car and you can't find it. And
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a pinpoint like ping or anything, but it'll definitely let you know if it's out of range, and then when it gets back in range. So I guess maybe you're cutting grass and it falls out your pocket and you can't find it in your yard. You walk around until it's back in range, and you kind of know the general area, I guess.
Yeah, I mean those. I've played with a Bluetooth kind of tracker.
Uh-huh.
I think it was the Tracker Bravo, and it wasn't very accurate. Like, it was telling me that my keys were in my backyard when they were in the same room as me, as far as when you zoom into the Google Maps. So I'm not sure it's going to tell you, okay, yeah, your bag's 10 feet in front of you. But
I gotcha.
I was thinking I guess that'd be a flashlight technology, not with the phone, but if the flashlight, you set it down and it turned on when something got close to it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
It doesn't do that, but you actually can control the flashlight completely from your phone. So if you have it set, I don't know necessarily the utility of it, but you could set it across the room, pull up your app, and turn your light on just by using the app. So it's kind of an interesting addition. I don't know how useful it would be.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe if you put it in some kind of like headlight adapter or headlamp adapter. I've seen those things where it kind of just straps to the side of your head. If you're just feeling extra lazy and don't want to just go like that, you can just...
You don't want to reach up. You're already looking at your phone. Just pull up the app.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are in a convenient society.
Yeah. But I guess it could be kind of useful too if you can't find it. You pull your phone out, tell it to turn it on max, and you look for the bright light beam that's coming from under the couch or something like that. That could be useful.
Yeah.
I will put in a link to the YouTube video where the owner David does a rundown of all the features of it. It's kind of a long video, explaining everything, but if you can get through it, it's a pretty good informational video.
Cool.
Do you have a question, Ryan? I think I interrupted you.
That's very neat.
No, I'm good. You answered everything.
Probably not everything, but.
Yeah, it's all right. You should get your own flashlight podcast, just all about flashlights.
But then I'd have to learn a whole lot about flashlights.
That you don't already know, though, right?
There's a lot I don't know about flashlights.
Yeah.
I'm an entry-level flashaholic.
Oh.
There's a word that is
the
the word for it, but no.
Reading the facts and the comments, people were like, "Well, can it do a tail stand?"
Uh-huh.
There's just there's so many factors to a flashlight that I never really considered.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the flashlight community. Some people want to be able to do a tail stand. Some people, like I think the let me see, I'll click on it. The tail cap is a little shallow, so it's kind of hard to actuate. Like I have it in a fist, and it's a little hard to activate because it's so short. But it pops right off, and like. All I did was just pry it off, and then you can stand it up if you want to set it on a table. But what I'm planning on doing is 3D modeling a new tail cap, since it's so easy to pop on and off. Just adding, an 1/8 of an inch to it, and then having it 3D printed and just popping it on there.
There you go.
I like it.
What's the diameter?
0.86 of the light. You mean?
Okay.
Yeah, it's 0.86, so it's pretty small. It's barely wider than the. Let's see, it's pretty much the exact same diameter as this A2 muzzle, this A2 flash hider that I have sitting next to me.
Okay.
And
that
it's probably
puts it in perspective for a lot of us.
Probably about twice the length. So it's about the diameter and twice the length of an A2 flash hider.
Cool. All right. So that's it for the products. So hope that was enough to maybe give you some ideas for Christmas. I don't think we're gonna have an episode next week because that'll be record on the 22nd and then it release on Christmas. And I think I'm just gonna give everybody the week off, especially with some of us have some important family matters to attend to, not just holidays, but definitely want to put prayers and positive thoughts out for some of our brothers here on the network. Tony and Rob, and just anyone else that's going through some family things on this kind of more emotional time of the year during the holiday season. So our hearts go out to you guys, and we thank you for all you do and all the fun times we've had on the show. And I guess we will see you guys probably record the last Tuesday of December and put out the episode on New Year's for 2016.
Nice. Yeah, and I wanted to add something. I've been meaning to mention it for probably a couple of months now. But if anybody ever hears about any products on this show, and you think, hey, that's cool, and you go buy it, if you buy it straight from the manufacturer, just throw a little note in there saying you heard about it from us. Maybe give, just so they can know where they're getting some traffic from. I think it's always cool to know how people are getting exposure,
Yeah, tell Magpul how many people I send their way. Because they need to know how much work I'm doing for them.
Yeah, I'm the same way for FN. I don't know how many FNs I've sold in the last year or so, but it's been a lot.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, everyone have a good week. Shoot safe, stay warm. Definitely just embrace your loved ones and have a great Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever else you celebrate, just as long as you're with your family and peace on earth and all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys on the next episode.
See you guys later.
Yep,
have a good night.